Excellent. Hey everybody. I think we're live and happening. So for the past couple of streams, I've just been building out this JSON API resource, and the whole idea around this is just kind of like not trying to introduce new concepts and new things. It's not a fully fledged JSON API thing. There's already a solution out there which comes with like a whole heap of amazing stuff. This is more just a resource just to kind of represent the output. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of demo this today. I'm going to build some more features on the stream, but I wanted to like give a demo of this thing working and see it in action. So this is the repo, but if I come over here, so what I'll do is I've got a bunch of stuff actually documented. So about how it kind of works and all comes together. So we've got how you can identify things. So this is around the ID and type and how we get those. I've actually been kind of reconsidering how this has been implemented, thinking about making this a little bit simpler actually. But for now, that's how that kind of works. You can specify attributes that are available. So this is all via the JSON API spec. So these are attributes such as, name and email address of a user. Just kind of those more low level, like primitive values kind of things that you'd kind of see come through here. And then you've got relationships, and I think of these like eloquent relationships. This is where you specify all the relationships that a resource has. And you can see we've selected similar naming to like Laravel's resource. It's got two array and we've got two attributes and two relationships. And those two methods essentially replace the two array. So you no longer interact with two array, you interact with two attributes and two relationships. And this kind of covers how that all comes together. But this is kind of the fun bit, which is including relationships and the API around that, which is just the JSON API way of doing things. And so I'm just gonna, I think I just jump in and kind of show you this little demo that I've got set up. So I got a project here. Hey Samuel, thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoy this little demo. So I've got a repo set up here. So I'll just come in and just show you kind of the data model. It's nothing exciting. We've got a user. We've got some posts up here, so like a blog post, and a user can have many blog posts, and a post has one user as their author. A post can have many comments, and a comment can have one author. A post also has like a title and content, and a comment has content as well. A post can have a tag, and a user can have a profile picture. So just a couple of just a data model there, and the tag to post is like a belongs to many, so it's a many-to-many relationship, and I'm just going to show how we can kind of navigate through these just via the API and includes. So that's kind of like our models. So then I'll come over to our resources. So if we go to resources, and I'll go to our user resource. So I've got two attributes here, and the two attributes just outputs the name, email address, and created at. And then the relationships that were specified on this model are posts, comments, and profile picture. So a user has many posts, a user has can have many comments, and a user can have one profile picture. And you can see that that split between two attributes and two relationships, where these are more primitive values, and these are essentially returning JSON resources themselves. So then if we come up to say hey there, if we come over to a post resource, I'm just digging straight into this demo, so hopefully it's good. If you've got any questions or anything, please just sing out. Otherwise I'm just digging straight in. So this is our post. Like I said, like we saw before, a user can have many posts, and a post can have a title, content, and created at, and relationships can have a single user. They can have many comments, and they can have many tags. Cool. I know this isn't the most exciting bit, but I just want to kind of give you an idea of like how these all map together and are related and interrelated, so that we can kind of see it all come together on the front end. Okay, so then we go to a comment, and then we've got, what have we got here? We've got a comment can have content and created at as attributes, and the relationships of a comment are the user and the post. So it can have a single user as the author, and it can be related to a single post. A comment can be on a post. I think we're all familiar with that kind of concept, hopefully. Coming back to the user, remember the user can have a profile picture. So if we come down here, we've got the profile picture, which can have a URL, created at, and then of course it's associated back to a user. And lastly, we've got the tag. So this is the tag, and a tag has a title, and it can have many posts on it. So I think that's all of those. So you can see that you kind of specify, hopefully you can see that you're kind of specifying the relationship and the attributes in those two methods there to kind of give you distinct places to put those in. And what we'll do is I'll show you just this working on the front end, and then I'm going to show you a few more features that I've kind of baked in as additional things that I think make this kind of nice. So let's jump over and start looking at making some web requests. So I've set up a users endpoint, and all I'm doing is returning the user resource and a collection of users. So let's jump over to look at what that looks like on the front end. Okay, so you'll remember that when we were looking at that user resource, we had a name, email address, and created at as the attributes. And we had a bunch of relationships, but currently the relationships are empty. And also you'll notice that it's in the structure of JSON API, if you are familiar with the structure of JSON API, where the ID and type are at the same level as attributes and relationships, and then the attributes kind of are nested in here. So it's slightly different to how you might have built like a more flat API resource. And we're automatically getting the type and the ID off the models for you. So there's no kind of work that you have to do there. That just automatically comes out of the box for you if you're using Eloquent models, but you can customize how that's all resolved. Okay, so nothing exciting really here, except for a nice consistent shape. But what we can start to do is start to actually manipulate the URL to include things and create a rich graph of data so we can pull out all sorts of things. So we've got a bunch of users, so let's come back to our user resource and have a look at the relationships we've got. So we've got posts, comments, and profile pictures. So I want to see, with all these users, I also want to see all of their posts. So I'm just going to go include posts. And now some things have changed. So we still have, in our data key, we still only have users, okay? So we've still got our user, which is ID1, type is users, we've got our name, email, and created at attributes. But now something's changed in relationships where we have now included some relationships. So now we've got posts, and the first post for this user, it's an array. So one user might have several different posts. This user only has one post, and it has a data tag. So you'll see that starting to match this, like data ID type. We've got data ID type there. And it's this is ID number 1, and it's got a type there, posts. So it's, again, matching this kind of same structure. You'll notice it kind of gives you a really consistent structure. So we've got ID and posts of 1 in that relationship. And then we'll just take a look at user number 2. User number 2 also has a post. It's just got a single post, and their post is number 2. Okay, so, and this is just built from my Cedar, so it's all kind of similar where each user just has a single post. But now what's interesting is when I open this up, now I've got all the posts for this user as well. So this is a kind of a flat structured data, so that you can kind of rework stuff on the front end. So you know that user 1 had post number 1 because it was in their relationships key. So here's post number 1, we've got our attributes, and we've got our relationships. Now, this post doesn't currently have any relationships, which is what we saw previously with the user, where the user initially didn't have any posts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to say, all right, I want all the posts, and for every single post, I also want to bring through all the comments on that post. So I'm going to go include comments. Okay, so now some more things have changed. Now you'll notice that nothing has changed in our user. So we've got user 1, and their relationship has posts, and they've got a single post, and it is post number 1. So then we can come down to the included and we see post number 1 is here. So this is one of their posts. And then what you can see is now we've got relationships here. So this has actually been filled out now. And this contains comments. And what's more is it's an array of comments that are available and made on this post. So there are 5 comments on this post that have now all been included. And just like what happened with users where they weren't included in the user resource, they were instead included as a flat structure. These comments are also in this flat structure. So if I scroll down, I'm going to see that I've got this here is comment number 1, and then comment number 2, comment number 3, comment number 4, comment number 5. And then I've got post number 2, and it's going to have some comments. So the comments in post number 2 are 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I've got comment number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we're able to basically like bring through all of this data just from this one endpoint. So now the next thing is, as we know, every comment has a user. So I think it's user is the relationship. So going even further, we've still even though I've just included more users, they don't get included in this top level data. Only the actual resource we requested comes through, and then all the include stuff goes into the include key. So if I close up data, and then we've got post number 1 has comment number 1. So let's see who was the author of comment number 1. So if we scroll down and find comment number 1, there it is. And we can see a relationship here of user. And then we can see that user number 11 was the author of comment number 1. So then we want to find user number 11. So if we come down here, what have we got? We've got users 13. Here's user 11. So this is the author of that comment. And you can see we've been able to pull through like this whole rich graph of data just via the one endpoint. And so that's what this enables you to do. It's just a standard. I mean, you've always been able to do this. It just gives you a good standard. So you've got a consistent way to always pull through all this data, which I think is super cool. And so you can see like there's a whole ton of data in here that we've been able to pull through. And that's pretty neat. So let's go back to our web routes. Now, something to note is we've just hit 1 million N+1 queries, like all the way down. I'm not doing any optimizations, so I'm hitting N+1 queries all the way down. And we can see that if I prevent lazy loading and do a refresh, here we go, it's not happy. And so what we can do, and this is the way that I've designed this, is that, well, I guess I haven't designed it this way, but it's able to be done this way, is that you kind of never want to use it by itself. It's always meant to be used in conjunction with a library to actually load the JSON API data that's been requested. And as you can imagine, I am reaching for Sparse's package to do this. So if I go users here, I've made sure that I can get all the stuff that I want to be able to get. So I want to be able to load the comments posts, the post comments user author user profile picture, which is what we're currently loading. So if I come back here, I can load all that, and I haven't hit any N+1 issues because Sparse's query builder has loaded everything I want to be able to load. Now what's more is I also want to get all the tags for the post. So you can see I've included the posts comments user, and now I'm just going to do a comma and go posts.tags. And now we've got post number 1. So if we come down to post number 1 in our included, and what have I done? I've now included all the users. So there's a bunch in there, but that's fine. Post number 1 has those comments, but it also has tag number 1 and tag number 2. And so now we're just getting able to retrieve more and more data from that one endpoint. Now, of course, you're going to want to be smart about how you utilize this, right? You're not going to be able to want to just like get everything in the world from the one endpoint. But it does allow you to kind of get more rich data, which is cool. So we've got the post tags. I can also get the current users comments. So I can go comments and get that. Like I'm just gonna get it all. So I'll get for every comment, I'll also get the post that they were on. Like I'm going to get a ridiculous amount of data right now. And then I'm going to make sure I get the profile picture of all the users that we initially requested. Like it's a stupid amount of data that I've just pulled through. I would hope that, well, I mean, you know, it depends. Maybe there is a use case where this is okay. But yeah, so that's pretty sick that this kind of removes any like N+1 stuff. So we don't have to worry about hitting any of those N+1 queries. But of course, we need to be smart about how much data we're pulling out of the database and memory usage and all that kind of business. But it's pretty neat to kind of be able to do that. But it doesn't end there. So that is around including relationships, and that's what we've just covered then. So that's pretty neat. And then if I come down here, we can do some stuff with sparse field sets. So sparse field sets allow you to say what fields you actually want from a model. So I'm just going to come back to something a little bit more simple. So I'm just going to I'm going to get all the users and their posts. And what I might do is I might also just limit this so we only get 5 users, just to kind of make it a bit easier to see. So currently we're getting all 5 users, and we've got name, email address, and created at. I'm glad you dig it, Sam. But what I want to be able to do is I actually only need the name on this particular request. I don't need the email address and created at. So I can use sparse field sets here, and I can go fields, and I can say users, and I can just put in name. And you can see now I'm only getting the name for this particular resource. And if I come down posts, this is in included as well. So these are included values. And you can see that posts have the title and the content and the created at. But actually on this particular page, I don't need to see the content or the created at, I just need the title. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go fields, and I'm going to go posts, and I'm going to only request the title. And of course it doesn't work. Why aren't you working? Title requested, title are not allowed, requested fields. What have I? I think no, I don't know. Why have you broken? Posts is equal to title. Not sure. I think it's I haven't got the query builder set up, so I'll just take that away for a second because I would need to get that set up properly, which would totally be possible, but I'm just not going to do it right now on the stream. So let me just get back to this. And if and I'll get rid of that. So again, I'm coming back to hitting N+1s, but it's just so I don't have to set up the query builder right this second on the stream. But you can get all this set up. So sorry, I'll just go back to fields, and this is for posts, and I only want the title of the post. And so our user only showing their name, and then if I come down to the includes, we've got post, and it's only showing the title. It's not showing the created at. But actually, I do want the created at, so I'm just going to add title and created at. And if I come down here, now we've got title and created at on this particular thing. So that's pretty neat. So you can kind of do that all the way down, right? So every type, every object in JSON API has a type, and you can use that type to essentially filter the fields that are available and filter the relationships that are available. So that is sparse field sets, which is pretty neat. And then, okay, so this is the next thing I'm going to show you, which is minimal attributes. So out of the box, this thing gives you a maximal data set. And what I mean by that is when I include, what I'll do is I'll include the users and their posts. And you can see we get a maximal data set where all the attributes that are defined come through for all objects. But depending on your kind of view on things, it's a little less deterministic if you do that, because if I come into the back end, so I'll switch gears and I'll come in here and I'll go to the, I think it was the user resource? Yeah, it was. Yeah, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add location, and then it's a little unexpected that, all of a sudden I've added something and a new attribute comes through. And so it's a little less deterministic in that I've added something, but the requester hasn't asked for it, but they've gotten it. So what you can do, if you like, is you can come into your app service provider and you can tell the JSON API to only give minimal attributes. And what that means is that out of the box, it doesn't actually present any attributes back to the user. So everything is empty. And that means essentially you've got to ask for everything. So if you want the posts to be included, you've got to have included in there. And then if you want fields, so if you want the user's name, you have to explicitly request it. So it doesn't come with anything out of the box, and you'd have to go fields and ask for the title of the post as well. So essentially it's a way of saying, give me nothing and I'll be explicit about what I want to request and what I want to be available in the payload, which I quite like. But again, I guess it's going to depend on your API and what's needed there. And then this is about, including nested resources like we've shown, where you can get, all the users, and all of those users, you want all their posts, and all those posts, you want all the comments, and all those comments, you want all the authors, and for all that author, you want their profile picture. So you can go all the way down that line. Cool. So that's kind of the main demo really, which is pretty sweet. So I can also come at it from different angles as well. So if we come back to the web route, we can get a single user here. So I'm just going to get a single user. If I come back here, so I'll get user number 1, and I'm going to ask for the fields. I want the user's name, and I also want their location. Location. Oh, did I remove that? Maybe I removed that. So name and email. Cool. And then I'm also going to say that I want to include this user's comments. Okay, this user doesn't have any comments, so what about their posts? Yep, they've got a post. And I want to say fields for posts. I want the content and also want the title. So I'll add that in there, and you can see that I've got the title and the content of the post, and I've got the name. And so you can do it on like a list. You can do it via a list, an index, or you can do it via a get. And as a matter of fact, you can actually do it via a post as well. If you were to say you're trying to create a user, if you were to do a post to this endpoint, and you had these in the query parameter, then you would post to that endpoint, you would create the thing normally, and then the response would be filtered to the exact response that you're expecting via the query parameters, which is pretty sick. Essentially you can kind of come at this from any way. So I can go get the comments, and then I can say, right, let's have a look at that. And then I'm going to change this to maximal app service provider. So for each comments, I want to include, include the post. And now each comment, I've got their post, and all their posts are down here. And I can go for that post, I want to get the user. And for that user, I want to get the profile picture. It's pretty dope. I'm digging it a lot. It gives you a lot of flexibility to be able to get that additional data that you need via one request, which is quite nice. I'm quite liking it. And I also just like the structure, how everything is kind of structured the same. It gives you a good place, stop bike shedding about your APIs, which is what JSON API is all about. So you've still got a RESTful resource machine with just some extra capabilities, basically, which, I'm quite liking. So I think that's really the demo. The JSON API resource actually extends the normal JSON resource. The public and the developer facing API are all in this class. So this is the minimal attributes. You can restore it to maximal attributes if you're doing it in a test or something. You've got 2 attributes there, 2 relationship, 2 array. We take over that one. So you generally don't actually do anything with that one. We're taking over that. You can extend these things as long as you kind of call the parents version. And then this collection thing is just for us to be able to intercept collection calls and do certain things with JSON collections. So yeah, it's been pretty sick. Oh, awesome, Samuel. I'm glad you're digging it. I've actually in here, so there is one thing that I can't currently do, which I'm working on. So the query builder works really well for an index, but if you've got a single resource such as this, where you're kind of used route model binding, there's no current way to use Sparse's query builder to say, hey, look at the URL and load up all the relationships on this model that I've already got in memory. So I've actually started working on that. Wait, where is it? If I come up here, yeah, so I've actually started working on like a load builder instead of a query builder, where you can pass in a single resource and it'll kind of load everything up. So I guess the idea there would be you'd do something along the lines of like load builder. I don't know what it's supposed to be called, but load builder for, and you'd pass through the user instance and you'd say allowed includes, and you'd say, all right, on a user, you can load their posts and the posts comments or something like that, similar to what you do on the index. And then I guess maybe at the end of it, you call load and it would load all of those relationships onto that user that's already in memory. So I'm working on that and going to hopefully PR a like MVP to Sparse to see if they'd be interested. If they're not, can always just keep fire up a repo myself and maintain that. So yeah, so hopefully once that's in there, it'll kind of be like, yeah, perfect really. Perfect from my point of view, in a good state to go. So yeah, it works really well. I'm really happy with it. And I think that's the demo. So if anyone was here for the demo, that's that. I'm going to switch gears now to actually add some new features. So I forget what the features were that I said I was going to add. I am going to make it that you can, oh yeah, I know. So what I'm going to do is if we come to the user resource, what I'm going to do is make it that the response for a resource actually contains all of the yeah, I don't think so. I think it's expecting a query rather than a model. So yeah, I don't think we can do that. I mean, I would love to be told otherwise. And I should actually double check that before I go down the path of spending any more time on it. But I think it's expecting a query builder, like a query that hasn't pulled anything out yet. So it just needs, not some tweaks because it is in a good state, but just needs some additional features there to kind of support an instance that's already in memory. That's my understanding anyway. So what I'm going to do is, you can imagine that if you've got minimal attributes on, so if I come over to the app service provider and I turn minimal attributes on, I guess that's what you would call it. Now I need to kill all this because let me just ditch that because that's not a thing that actually exists. I've broken all the things. What have I done? Yep. Broke it all. Very good. Another error. Okay, cool. So, let me pause that. Okay, so sorry people, a little bit sidetracked there. So you can see that currently, if you turn minimal attributes on, you can't tell what attributes or relationships are actually available. And to that point, if you don't include anything, you can't see what relationships or attributes are available. It's just an empty array. Sick, Samuel. Yeah, please hit me up if you got any feedback. I haven't tagged a version yet, but you should still be able to pull it in. And yeah, have a play. If you notice anything, please let me know. If there's any additions you think could be cool, I'd love to hear. So the feature that I'm going to add is basically like in the meta tag, have a list of attributes and relationships that are available, so that you can see at a glance what is available. And that's, you know, I guess it's a little bit like, well, it's not a little bit like this. It's maybe a very tiny bit like GraphQL, where it kind of tells you all the things that are available. And because if we go to the user resource, I can tell what's available by just kind of looking at the keys here. And similar like the keys here, I can kind of expose that without any impact. It's going to be an opt-in feature because there will be a slight performance penalty, I think. But yeah, gonna make that a little opt-in feature. So I'm going to switch gears now from the demo into that and just building that. So feel free to come along for the journey if you're bored. So what I want to do is go to the JSON API repo. Of course, there is that file there. I'll just make sure I've got the latest changes. And I do. So this is the JSON API resource. And I am going to, you know, the first thing I'm going to do is work out where it would even be suitable to put this. So I believe there is a meta object that contains non-standard information, which is exactly what this is, just some random stuff. So where specified, a member can be used to include non-standard meta information. The value of each meta member must be an object. Any members may be specified within the meta objects. All right, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at what a test might look like just for the attributes first. Actually, you know what? Let's let's do this thing. So we'll just come down the bottom. Got a bunch of tests. I should probably make sure the tests still pass. Yes, they do. On this repo, we've got PHP unit, and we've also got what else have we got? Infection, which is cool. So it does some mutation testing just to make sure that, you know, the tests that I'm building are actually decent. Famous last words, but that's the plan. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go public. I don't know what these commented out tests are. I should probably check out that. Public function test it can add available attributes to the meta object. Okay, and it's been a little while since I've written tests here, so I'm just going to look at what a happy path test looks like so that I remember. Okay. Why has Vim been weird? Okay, so what we do here is we've got a resource, and I don't need that. 55 should be expected ID. Now, test route. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to turn this thing on. So I'm going to go JSON API resource, and I'm going to say not include. I'm going to say with maybe I will say include available attributes. We'll see how that feels. So include available attributes. We might even do that down here because it kind of feels more a part of the test than the setup. So no, although that's in the no, agreed. Cool. So we've got that. We've got our resource. Then we've got our route that kind of just returns our basic resource. And then we turn this thing on. We don't need to do this. Then that's kind of our work there. And then what we want to do is 55 will actually be expected ID. And I think this should pass as is, include available attributes. Awesome, glad you enjoyed it. Hope work doesn't take too long, and enjoy your weekend once it's over. Thanks for coming along as well. Okay, so that is currently working, but we haven't done anything yet. So let's have a look at what our documentation here. Meta information. Where specified, a meta member can be used to include non-standard meta information. The value of each meta member must be an object, a meta object. Any members may be specified within meta objects. Cool. So I guess we just really want an attributes, and then it's just going to be a list of available attributes. So I'm thinking this is going to be meta, and here, and then we go authors. Don't need to copy theirs. Attributes, and it's just going to be an array, and it's going to be an array of things. So what have we got in our basic JSON API resource? Nothing. So let me come here and see two attributes. JSON API resource, JSON resource with attributes. That's what we actually want to have. So we want to do a JSON API with a JSON resource with attributes. Okay. That is not where I wanted to do that, is it? So let me come up here and come up here. Basic, and this is JSON API, JSON resource with attributes. Lovely. And then we've got our meta, and this is going to be our name and our email. And that's going to fail. And that is going to fail because it's expecting meta with attributes, and it hasn't gotten any of that. So let's look at making this test pass. So because meta is kind of a bigger concept within JSON API, I think it'd be nice to have a meta tag basically. So if we go to JSON API resource, this is the ID, the type, and so this is going to have now it's not at this level, is it? So we've got data is at a higher level with included, so that is probably going to be actually here where that is happening. So we need to work out how we kind of change that here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go meta is equal to, for now, just to kind of get this passing. Obviously this won't be good, but I'll just go attributes and then go name and email, just to see if that gets that test passing. Attributes, meta is attributes. Yep, of course. Didn't do what I actually had to do because I need to actually wrap that in a meta call. So I'm going to go meta. Oop, don't need that little p there. And then we're going to go and put those up in there. Okay, so okay, so we're getting closer surely. So data attributes is an empty. That's because I've probably with minimal. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Because I added the attributes. All right, sweet. So we need to have name, and we'll put Tim, and location is hard-coded to Melbourne. Cool. And then we go up here and we've got name, and that is equal to Tim. There we go. Okay, cool. That test is passing. So that works. And now we can do some refactoring to kind of work out what this really looks like. So meta is going to be, well, how is this gonna look? So I think that we might have I think I might do we'll just start it with private for now, private function to meta, and that can get the request in case that's useful, but also just for consistency, to request, and that is going to return an array. And we've got to work out what goes in here. So JSON API resource include available attributes. I don't mind that. So we'll come up here and add a new method for this. So public static, static function. So this is kind of how the developer can turn this feature on. And this is going to be static include available attributes is equal to true. I'm actually going to delete this method. I don't think it adds any value. So actually, yeah, it does, because I need to reset it in tests. Come in here and tuck this away just because it's not really needed to be kind of looked at. Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to try and make it so that the meta can actually be intercepted by the developer, and that other things can be added in. I definitely want to support pagination out of the box as well, via Laravel's pagination stuff. I haven't actually even played with that yet. It may just actually work. I can't remember. But yeah, absolutely going to be able to intercept and add your own meta stuff for sure. That's not what I want to do. I want private static bool. What was it? Included. Yeah, that. And that is equal to false out of the box. And so what we're gonna need is one to kind of I guess I can call this exclude available attributes, and we'll turn that to false, which means in our tests we need to reset that. So we've got that, and then we want to come down here and go include should be exclude. Lovely. Cool. So that's our cleanup. Okay, so we are now excluding that. It's still working, so the test is still passing, which is nice. But now what we want to do is come in here and go to meta. And if this is include available attributes. So I'm going to do, if we're including the available attributes, then attributes is equal to an array with name and email. Otherwise, it's just merging nothing in. And why are you not happy? You're not happy because I haven't specified what's iterable in there. Don't really care about that right now. So then if I come back up here and change, and this is this to meta, and then we'll pass through the request. Just wondering, cannot unpack array. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Can't do that yet. I'm a PHP version ahead of myself. So what we want to do is, okay, well, just for now, I'm just gonna do it a little gritty, and we can fix it up later. So we'll go self include available attributes. If that is the case, then we will return our array here. Cool. And if that is not the case, we'll just return an empty array. And then our test is passing again. Excellent. Hey, Steve. Welcome to the stream. Hey, yo. I've bypassed, I've done that, not bypassed it. I did the demo already, Steve, so you might have missed those bits and pieces. If you want me to do a little demo again for you, please let me know. More than happy to, because it's exciting. Well, I think it's exciting anyway. But now what we're doing is we're adding a new feature to allow you to essentially include all the available attributes in a response. So currently, if I come over here, the way this works is we've got the ability to kind of turn off all the attributes so that you don't have to request attributes. So you'll do something like, oh, that's all right. You have to do something like fields is comments and go title. Okay, sounds good, sounds good. Oh yeah, I forgot. You can totally do that, hey? So if we've got comments, wait, of course it's not working now. I go to show you. Field comments is content. There we go. So you can like specify exactly the content that you want. And this is going to add a meta tag using JSON API's meta, and it's going to show all the available attributes that are possible. So yeah, should be good. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you're excited. It's really not, I just love having just a standard, right? Like it's just like, I know, I guess you could do all this stuff in your own way, but I love that someone else has just made all the decisions for you and you could just have a nice standard to do it. I think it's cool. Okay, so currently we have this test here and we're just trying to get this meta side of things to actually show what attributes are available. And name and email, that should actually be location. And I'll come over here, so email. So I've just hard coded this currently, just to kind of do some red-green refactor to kind of get it going. Because I haven't done anything with meta yet, so this is all new, all this meta stuff, so it's going to probably kind of evolve throughout this as we're tweaking it. And we'll have to do some similar stuff to what we've done above. So, oh, that's awesome. That is awesome to hear. Okay, so to meta is going to have that. It's going to have attributes. And so then I guess we should stop actually hard coding those. But I guess what we do want to do is make sure that these are actually included, whether or not there's includes or not. So I think we're actually going to come to a different pattern here, which is not one that I love, but I'll do it for this now anyway. And we will go, I'll just go with is equal to an empty array. And then if count is not equal to 0, but in fact greater than 0, then what we're going to do is with is going to be an array merge with this here. And so we'll bring that up and put that in there. That's funny. I feel like I do nothing but stumble over myself whenever I do Vim Live, so I'm glad that it looks like I'm not doing that, hopefully. Okay, so we'll merge in our includes, and then we will paste this under here. Okay, so then what we're going to do, I mean, this could even be a pipeline pattern actually, now that I'm kind of looking at this. So then what we want to do is, I'm pretty sure this is wrapped up in a once call, is it? No, it's not. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that's right, because it's all nested, so we only want to get it once. So then we might go meta, and we can go this to meta, and and we will pass through the request. Actually, I might do this all kind of bit by bit, just to kind of keep it all together. So yeah, so we've got with, and then we'll get the includes and merge them in if we need to. Then we'll get the meta, and we'll come down and we'll go if count meta is greater than 0. Actually, this will just be if meta is not equal to an empty array, is what we're going to want to do there. Then with is going to be array. Yeah, this is, I mean, this is probably fine in line here, but yeah, it might be nice as a pipeline. And then we'll go meta is equal to meta. Cool. And then we'll just return with. And hopefully I didn't break too many things just then, so I'll just make sure that our tests still pass. They do. Excellent. Love it when a plan comes together. So then to meta, we've got that there, which means that I wouldn't mind like embracing that same pattern for consistency, but I think because there's just the one thing, it's probably okay to just do this for now. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. I think I'm all right with that. So name and location are coming through, but as we can see, they're hard coded. So now we need to actually resolve the attributes that are available. So we've got 2 attributes here, and if we come to our attributes concern, we pass the attributes for this thing. So I'm going to have to do this again. 2 attributes. I don't want to have to resolve it twice, so I think I'm going to create another method. So, okay, so we'll just get it working and then we'll make it good. Okay, so if we come down to attributes here, then essentially what I want to do, I guess, is go array keys of this 2 attributes and pass through the request, and that should continue to work. But that's gross because it means it calls 2 attributes twice. And I don't really want to do that. Yeah, I don't really want to do that. So what can I do instead? Sorry, brain is thinking. 2 attributes. So, okay, what have we got for relationships? So we're using Sparse's like once helper to make sure that we don't kind of incur penalty for like recalling methods in places. Excuse me. Resolve nested includes 2 relationships, pass relationships, pass includes. Where are we using the once? I thought we were using the once helper here. Where are we using once? What? Yeah, when we're passing that and doing that. Okay, so I think for attributes, what we might want to do, where are we calling two attributes? Yes. Sorry, just thinking. So two attributes in our app. Oh, not app, source. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm in an app. So we only call it in one place, well, two places now. Okay, so that means that what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new method. So private function resolve attributes. Yeah, that resolve pass. I don't know. These words are starting to not mean anything, but that's all right. I'm going to say resolve attributes, and that's going to be an array. And then what this is going to do is this is actually just going to return once. I love the once helper and short closures so much. So we'll go to attributes. And we'll go request. And this means we can kind of hit that two attributes method as many times as we want, and we don't incur any penalty if the user's doing anything, like if the developer's doing anything that kind of, it's outside of our control as to what they do in there. So if they're hitting a URL to like download an attribute or something, doing file get contents, which they shouldn't, but people do stuff. It means that we don't have to resolve that every single time. We can just do it once. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then this will be resolve attributes. And then I can come over here. And then this can be two attribute. This can be resolve attributes. And we don't need to worry about any performance costs. And so then I can run the test suite and it's all passing. Love it. I promised myself no recursion on this stream because the last two streams I got stuck in recursion because I hate recursion. So only easy wins this time, only easy wins. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm just eating some chocolate covered coffee beans, so I'm sure if you can hear me munching away. Okay, excuse me. So that's that working. We've got some type stuff that we need to, like type system stuff we need to fix up with the PHP stand and whatnot. But what I might do is I'll just run PHP unit. Yep, and now what I'll do is I'll run infection, make sure it's happy. And while that happens, I'm going to eat some more chocolate and coffee beans. For anyone watching that isn't familiar with infection, infection is a mutation testing library. And you can see it's very unhappy with things that I've done. Steve, it is up here. Everything I've done so far, except for what I'm doing right now, is available. I haven't tagged a release yet, but it's absolutely there. You can consume it like I'm consuming it in my package. I've got documentation there for everything that you need so far, everything that's available so far. The only thing I would note is that I am planning to potentially change how this identification stuff happens. The advanced stuff, you can like bind stuff to the container. I don't know that we necessarily need that, so I'm thinking about maybe changing that. But yeah, it's there for you to check out. Yeah, it should be. Hey. Check out this beautiful thing that I got the other day. I'm very excited. I don't know if you can see that on the live stream, but got a Stratocaster, and it is it's beautiful. I'm very excited, but I'm not going to be busting out any tunes right now, that's for sure. Okay, so what do we got? So it's unhappy about some stuff. We definitely got some escaped things, and of course I didn't put on the thingy. I forget what the flag is to like show. show mutations -s, infection, show mutations. Awesome, please do, and I'd love any feedback that you've got. It's pretty wild. I'll show you. Oh no, like you said, you can rewind and check it out. I keep forgetting about that, but yeah, go back and check out like the demo of it to see how it all kind of comes together. And then yeah, hit me up with any issues or any suggestions you got around the package and how it can be made better. I think it's only like, I probably just need there's probably a couple more things that I was like, oh yeah, I should totally do this before it's like released. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so it's not happy for a few reasons. So this is telling me I have not tested some stuff, which is good. So return with greater than 1. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what that mutation is. That's a weird mutation. Array 1 item. Yeah, cool. So, I actually would, and I need to like, I need to like give a talk or something about all this at some point, but I would actually say you don't want to do when loaded at all because it creates a non-deterministic API. And that's kind of actually what has like brought me this far, is to make sure that like I want to like get rid of when loaded from my system. But you can use Sparse's query builder in front of this, which is what I'm like recommending. It's the other, in my personal opinion, it's the other piece of the puzzle for that, where Sparse's query builder is about pulling things out. This is about making sure that the response is in the correct format as per the request. So instead of using when loaded, Sparse's query builder will actually make sure that you've got everything that has been requested. That being said, it will actually support when loaded and when and all of those conditional things because they're super valuable, and people will have use cases outside of that. And yeah, so yes, you will be able to, but and again, I need to like unload my brain as to like why when loaded is bad. But yeah, totally. Sorry. And I shouldn't say it's bad. It's not bad. When loaded is fantastic. Sorry, the language I've used is terrible. It's totally not bad. When loaded is fantastic, but I have thoughts and opinions on when loaded, and that it can, in some applications, create an inconsistent API. But again, I need to like actually get that out of my head into words that people understand and isn't just in my head, which I will do. I'll hit up Frake and or submit a talk to the Laracon Worldwide meetup or something, if they will have me. All right, cool. So yeah, so I've created some weird stuff in here, but that's cool. I'll check that out at another time because my brain isn't working on that level just right now. Okay, so that's working. So let's come back to this test. JSON API test. Yeah, and the application that I work in day to day uses when loaded everywhere, right? Because you don't want to hit those n+1s. It's perfect for that. So absolutely continue using when loaded, and then once you can make up your own mind once I like give a rant at some point about why I think that is. Or maybe I'll write a blog post, or I don't know. Yeah, you'll see. But I'm not going to try and explain it now because my head isn't in that zone, and I will make a fool of myself, or more of a fool of myself than I already am on the stream. So let's leave it at that. But yeah, I'll definitely try and share those thoughts somewhere. And again, I'm sorry I said it's bad. It's not bad. It's awesome. Bad was not the word I should have used. I hate when people tell me things are bad. I just have opinions and thoughts, and maybe I'll sway some other people to share those opinions and thoughts, and maybe not. When loaded is good. That's my official stance. There we go. Okay, done. So what? Yeah, I mean that's working, which is cool. But now I'm wondering is what we can do there to make this work on a bigger level. But I guess I want to see it now. So, yeah, exactly. You get it. App service provider. Oh, yeah. So I mean, that is working, which is really cool. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, I forgot. This isn't hooked up to the actual package that I'm building. It's only the one on GitHub. Okay, so we've got the meta stuff there now, which is nice. But I'm wondering what this looks like when we've got nested things and how that will work. So I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna say public function, if I can type, which I can't. So tester can add available attributes to the meta object of included resources. Okay, so now we're going to see if we can do a similar thing to what we just did with a top level resource, but this time in fact with a nested resource. So let's see what that might look like. So we've got a resource, we're going to have a nested, and yep. Nested, where is my nested? What was my convention for setting these up? Sorry, I'm just trying to work out what my naming convention's kind of been, because conventions have been a bit, oh, yep, okay, cool. Bit few and far between in this test suite, I'll tell you what. Okay, so we've got a basic resource, and then we've got a nested resource, which I actually think we want to be a basic resource as well, really. No, we don't want it to be a basic, no, it can be a nested resource, yeah, ignore me. And then it is going to have a name of nested resource. Cool. Okay, assert resource. So some testing providers for this. Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't thought that far ahead. I like that. So being able to assert a resource and it would just check the shape and make sure that it's in the expected shape. Okay, cool. I dig it. I will add a test. Ignore my comments of tests and pretend that I didn't have that in there. I'm going to come down here and add a test that is failing. Oh, this is a big test file. Might be time to start breaking this up. Public function test. It has test assertions. So yeah, I'll just go assert resource, user resource, mark, cool. I do get it, and I dig it. Okay, so where were we? So now we've got this nested resource, JSON resource with attributes. Yep, so that's cool. But we're gonna want, so we'll go new class with the resource and it will extend JSON resource with attributes. We might just do extends JSON API resource. We might just do all of this by hand actually. So what we'll do is we'll go public function to attributes, and that's going to get the request. We'll turn an array, and we're going to say this is just going to have the name. So the name is equal to this name, Cool, and then we're going to have some relationships on this one. So we'll go public function to relationships, and then we're going to get a request, and that will turn an array, and that is going to be an array of things. So then what we're going to have is we're going to have nested, very good stuff here. We have to put all our relationships into a callable so that we can lazily resolve it. And then this is going to be a new class, and it's going to get this nested passed in, and it's going to extend the JSON API resource. Cool. And then what are we going to have in here? We're going to have public function to attributes request. Whoop, fingers are not doing what I want them to do. And then here we're going to go return an array, and this is not going to have name. Instead we'll have location, and we'll say this location. And then what we'll do is come back up and oh, excuse me, and that will be, instead of name, that's going to be location, and I'm going to change that to Melbourne. Okay, so now we've got that in place. What should our resource look like? So we're going to get the test route, and then we're going to include is nested, because we want to include that nested relationship. And then this should change shape. So we've now got a relationship, and here I go, probably forgetting how this all works. So relationships, we're going to have a relationship, and it's going to be nested, and it's going to have data, and it's going to have an ID of nested. What was it? Nested ID. Cool. So nested ID, and the type is going to be, I forget what the type is going to be. What is the type going to be? I'll just do that, and then PHP unit can tell me, because that's not what this test is about, so I don't really care that much. We'll run that. It's going to explode and not be happy. And why is it going to explode and not be happy? The type is nested resources. Perfect. Nested resources. Cool. And then if I come up here, name. Yep. So this shouldn't have that. It should only have the name. Okay. So that should be looking better. And now it should just be the include stuff. So included. There's nothing included. Okay, so I just want to run the whole test suite and just see what were the failures. So we had an object. Okay, there's some fun stuff happening, but that's cool. We'll keep going. So what is happening here? So we've got include. It is include, isn't it? Include. Yep. Include is nested, and then we've got nested here. Cool. Okay, so what are we, let's have a look here. What are we missing? What is failing for us? So, oh, it's got included, but that isn't in the actual payload, which it should be. Okay, so we've got data. So now we also need to specify that we should have some included stuff. And we should have, what will be included will be a object here, and it's going to have data, and the ID is going to be nested ID, and the type is going to be the nested resources. Cool. And then it's going to have attributes, and there's going to be a location, and that location is going to be Melbourne as per the model that we created. And then relationships, ships. Oh, fingers, do what I tell you to do. That should be empty. So if we run that, should be better now. Interesting. 1 second. I want to check if that's right. I'm not sure that I did that right. So what's happening is it's telling me that the includes aren't in a data attribute, but I actually kind of thought they were included. Includes. Oh, no, it's not. Ignore me. No data attribute. Okay, so that's fine. I guess I just get rid of that completely, which means that actually this feature might not work for nested stuff. It might only work for the top level. But we might be able to fix that. So, all right, cool. Yep, so we've got attributes, and it's only pulling through name, which is correct because there is only a name on there. But now we also want okay, so meta must just be, meta information is the top level. Yeah, sorry. Learning on the stream. Meta information. Where specified, meta can be used, included. The value of meta must be an object. Any member may be specified within meta objects and links as well. Okay, so that's all the top level meta. Let's see what we got down here. Meta. Stand by. Sorry, people. Yeah, that's all right. Cool. Okay. That is totally fine. So ID, type, attributes, relationships, and then we've got data and meta there. So I guess the thing is we potentially could have the relationship where it'd be something like nested Yeah, I was under the impression that I could have, so this meta is like at the top level, right? With data. And I was under the impression that I could actually include, it was more like, yeah, per resource, but that doesn't make sense at all. Hey there. So I could have like nested location, which would work as well. But the thing there is that an actual, like potentially a resource might actually have like an attribute named that. And so that's a little bit misleading, but maybe that doesn't actually matter. I don't love that. I don't love that at all, actually. I'd rather have it more kind of scoped. So it works for the top level stuff, and I probably just need to do another like read over of the JSON API thing to work out where I can kind of shove that for all the included values. But that's all right. I'll check that out. I'll check it out. So maybe that's just fine like that for now then. So it's just the top level one. I could have it include the relationships as well. Yeah, maybe the underscore kind of gives me flashbacks to like private stuff before we had private. But it definitely could be. I could have sworn you could like, let me come to included. Let's see some examples in here. Give me some included stuff. An array of resource objects. Let's have a look at a resource object. Aha, yeah, so a resource object appeared in JSON API document to represent resources. A resource object must contain at least the following top members, ID type. In addition, it contains attributes, relationships, links, and meta. Okay, yeah, I've just gone about this all the wrong way. I don't want a top level meta. I actually want a like per type meta almost. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, the same with links. Like you can have links on a per object, and I thought that was the case with meta, but then I was starting to question myself when I was seeing that other stuff in there. So absolutely. So let's that's cool. All right, back on track. So let's get this other test, this initial test. Tester can add available attributes to the meta object of included resources. Nope, that's the new one. So this is test. It can add available attributes to the meta object of a resource. Yep, that'll do. Cool. So then what we want to do is we want to change this. So this is no longer a there. It is actually there. Yeah, cool. Let's fix that up. Let's get to it. So to meta. Yeah, that's better, and that's how I was structuring this as well. I'm silly. Ignore me. Okay, so we've got to meta here. So to meta is actually the top level thing, and I think with is where we'd put that other stuff anyway. Yeah, you're totally right, Steve. It's it's a separate concern, that top level meta. So we've got to meta. We get the request. If we're including the available attributes, then we're going to call this thing here. We're resolving it, which was the whole reason I did this whole thing, this whole rigmarole as well. So I've just confused myself because I don't stop to think on these streams. So I don't want any of this stuff at all. So I can probably rewind some of those changes, but I'll just leave that for now. And then what I actually want is to array. We want to come down here and say meta, and this is this to meta, and we get the request through there. Cool. And which one are we in? Lovely, and it's working. Cool. So that was a lovely little fix up. And then if we come down here, this isn't happy, and so let's work out why that's not happy. And it's not happy because this is here, I would say. So we'll come down here. And then we'll come down here. What did I just do? Yeah. Okay. Get that all lined up. Okay, so it's still not happy, but we should be getting closer now. And it's not happy because the thing that we want isn't in the test yet, which is awesome. So we come down here and we have a meta tag and the relationships. I wonder if I should call it available relationships. No, it's available attributes. Attributes. And this is attributes is go brain go location. And it passes. Sick. Okay, that's cool. So now the responses will actually tell us what attributes are available on each object to be included. And I guess what we should try and do actually is I'm going to do this with minimal. Yeah, I'm going to do this with minimal. I have no words. Minimal attributes, so that it doesn't actually include any attributes. And then this will, of course, break stuff. So it's not actually going to have any attributes. So intentionally, no attributes, but it should tell us that the name is available. So we're not actually including anything, but it should tell us that we can include the name if we want it. And then if we come down here, again, we won't show the location, but it should actually tell us that the location is available. And then at the end of this, I'm just going to do JSON API resource, and I'm going to say maximal attributes just to clean up. But forgetting that, it works. Cool. That is very cool. So we should then be able to, yeah, we should be able to do that. That's awesome. So to meta. I dig it. That's really cool. And then what I'll probably do now is actually wrap this up so that it's not kind of exposed like that. So we'll come over to attributes and we'll come down and go, that wasn't what I meant to do, but sure. Private function available attributes, request, and that's going to be an array. And then we want to bring this up, turn that, and that should be our available attributes, and then this can just be available attributes and send through the request. Lovely. Hey Christoph, hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming to hang out. We're just mucking around with some JSON API stuff, and we're getting some attributes to be kind of exposed. So a little bit like, and I say it as if I've used it a lot, which I have not, but like GraphQL, where it kind of tells you all the attributes and all the things that are available in the resources. Doing a similar thing here where we've kind of got this route, and we're including a bunch of stuff, but we're not getting any attributes. We're telling it not to give us any attributes. And then we've added this new meta area, but it tells us what attributes are available. So we know that if we wanted to, we could request the name. You could imagine this would be a big long list of name, email address, all sorts of stuff. And we got that working with nested things as well, which is nice. So yeah, we're kind of just plodding along with that really. Just doing some refactoring after we got that feature happening. So just trying to get this nice. So include available attributes, then we'll return that. Otherwise it's just empty. And for now, that's all we need to account for. So I'll just leave it like that. I don't need to come up with a fancy pattern that's repeatable there just yet. Maybe at one point I will. And to that point, I might return this one to the functionality that it had before, because I don't know, it felt a little bit more succinct. I don't like the whole like assigning a variable here and then doing stuff. So because we've kind of reworked this a bit, I'm going to restore this. And I might have it match the other method where this returns an array here. Even though kind of this is a guard clause, I think I'll probably just do this anyway. So this is going to be just return that, I guess, and that should do it. So although I think PHP Stan or something was freaking out when I did it in this order last time. Oh, I broke everything. Yay. What did I break? Why did I? Oh, because now everything has a meta tag. So meta should only be, yeah. So in addition, it may contain any of these top level members. So what I've currently got is that attributes and relationships, those keys are always there. But I feel like I don't want to include meta unless there's something actually in there, which is a little bit... No, I think that's fine because it's going to be a global thing anyway. So then the developer consuming this can add their own meta stuff and decide how that works. But yeah, I think to meta probably should actually... We probably shouldn't add that if there's nothing in there. I think that's what we will do to meta. But then I'm going to have to assign this to a variable and check if it's got stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Meta. I mean, okay. I'll just do it, and we'll just see what it looks like, and we can refactor afterwards, I guess. So we'll just see this, and we'll say if meta is equal to an empty array, then yeah, I don't love this at all, but we'll just do an array merge of the meta stuff. So to array, and we'll shove in meta. I mean, PHP, 8.1 is going to make all of this go away. I can just do it all in line, which would be nice. But we don't have that. Soon. Because it's going to have that in there, so I'll get rid of that. Meta, that's... Yeah, okay. So now the tests are passing. There's a few failing tests now. So I've broken some stuff. So maybe I go and get those happening. So let's see what is failing. Let's run this thing. Tester has assertions. Yeah, we'll deal with that another time. So this is now failing because test includes attributes. I'm wondering if minimal attributes. So I've got this kind of helper that's sets a static value to specify that you only want the minimal attributes. You don't want all the attributes that are available. You only want the attributes that you've actually requested. And I'm wondering if I haven't actually reset that minimal because it's a static value. Yeah, totally didn't fix it there, did I? So I set that there, and then at the end of this test, oh no, I do set it there, so that's good. Okay, so minimal attributes. Maybe if I just find references to this. So I've only referenced it twice. So I referenced it here, and then did I reset it? Yes, I did. And then the next one is here, and then did I reset it? Yes, I did. So why are you freaking out and failing? Let's go and have a look. Yep, okay. So there's something with the static stuff is going on. JSON API resource, because that test is passing in isolation. So I've done something stupid, classic me. Include available attributes, exclude available attributes, which is good. Include available attributes is misleading. Yeah, 100%. Every time, it's, it's the whole, as soon as there's a config option, you've got two different applications. And if you've got feature flags, well done, you've got n to the power of 2 applications, depending on how many feature flags you've got. And 100%, man. Okay, include available attributes is totally misleading now that I'm seeing that, because I mean, I use include available attributes needs to be renamed. So we need to rename that. To do rename That is not a good name at all now that I'm seeing that. But that's all right. It'll do for now because the feature is actually there. So minimal attributes, include, exclude, maximal, minimal, maximal. I mean, it's... Test can. Okay, this one is actually failing in isolation, so that's good. So what have we done? What have I screwed up? It's expecting meta, but it's not getting meta of a resource. Okay, so why aren't you getting the meta? And that must be from probably the change that I just made. So JSON API resource is to meta. And then we're checking if meta is equal to the, I'm a bit not with it. It should be not equal to. So that's a thing it should definitely be. But it's still not happy. So what is happening? What is happening? So now attributes, it is getting attributes, but it's getting the name and location. What did I do in toMeta? Did I do something very strange? Hilarious. Yep. So we want to come down here and we want to go meta is equal to that. Because I know how to code. There we go. Hey, we're happy again. Everything's good. Lovely, 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 lovely. Well, I think that's that feature kind of done. I think that is implemented, which is kind of cool. So let's check out what we did here. So we've got this resolve attributes so that we can constantly call two attributes whenever we need, and we'll wrap that up in a nice little once call so that it doesn't rerun this every single time. So that's nice. We could probably limit it to a single instance that calls this, but again, this is an opt-in feature, so I don't think it's too much of a pain. Yes, I'm very excited as well. All right, I'm going to munch on some more coffee beans and chocolate, so I'm sorry if anyone hates that sound on the stream, and you're welcome if you like that sound. Okay. Then we've made this use resolve attributes. So it's like super micro optimization, but we're going to do it. Available attributes here is, I think this needs, the available attributes thing, we need to rename that completely, I think. Available attributes is misleading as to is that what's in the thing, like in the payload? So I need to change that available attributes thing to something else. I don't love this right now. I wish we had PHP 8 so that I could do this a different way. But it's fine. It means that this will always have ID type attributes and relationships, and then for this optional feature, you can add that in as needed. So I think that's fine. We're restored. Oh no, what is this? This is the includes. Yeah, I changed the way that this works so that it matches the way that this one is working. The toMeta and this, so that the last call is actually returning an empty array. They are clauses, but they're kind of not. So I think it's fine. It's fine. And then we added some tests here. So yeah, so that's really done. Oh, and we added a test here for a thing that we haven't done. Thanks to Steve for that suggestion. So I am going to run the tests. Cool. And now let's get some type stuff fixed up, because I know there'll be type issues. memory, I can't remember what the help thing is, rg memory, memory limit, okay, PHP stan, memory limit, and we'll just go 2 giggies. And it's going to freak out because there's a bunch of problems. So what should we address first? Resolve attributes has no return type. All right, so let's get into the attributes. Attributes, resolve attributes has no return type. So I'll just go to attributes, function, attributes. It's a string and mixed. Lovely. All right, well, let's just return that then. So at return array string and mixed. Cool. That should be good. What's our next linting error in here? Nothing by the looks of it. So that's cool. Oh, actually, it probably doesn't know because it's just a trait by itself and it needs to actually analyze the whole project to understand the traits. So available attributes has no return type, so we'll get in there. Like I said, we do need to rename this, the whole available attributes thing, but it doesn't mean we can't tighten up the types here because they all stay the same. So returning an array, and this is just an array of strings. So that should be good there. What else is it not happy about? To meta return type. Okay, so we'll go into that as well. To meta. And what has this got? This has got JSON API resource collection. No, I don't know where you got that from. This is returning an array. It may be an empty array. Otherwise, it may have attributes, and that is a wait, I don't want that, do I? I want an array shape here. So it may have attributes, and if it does have attributes, the available attributes are an array of strings. And no, I don't want that. Cool. That should be right. So it's an array. It may be empty, but it may have attributes in it. If it has attributes in it, attributes is an array of strings. Yep, I think that is right. Cool. Getting closer. Fields. Return type has no... that's weird. I don't think we did anything with fields, so it's weird that it's not happy about that randomly. Oh, I like this in the context of that. I haven't seen that before. That's cool. Fields. So that's going to be on attributes. Fields. Is an array. Yeah, okay. So what is fields then? So this is going to return null or an array. And what is that array going to have? So that array, so it's going to be null, an empty array. Otherwise, it's going to be whatever this is. So an array of strings. So they're the fields. So it gets the fields. If the fields is not equal to null, it returns it. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's right. So just going to check that. Array string is going to just return that. Yep, that's good. Did I not just do that? Oh, because, yeah. That would help. Okay, where are we at? So I've broken something else because of one of those things. Oh, because toArray should now have some other stuff in it, like meta. So that's cool. I'll jump in there and have a look at that. So if we go to the JSON API resource and go to array, so it now potentially has a meta tag, which is not always there. And if it is there, it is going to be whatever toMeta gives us. And meta is going to be an array. Yeah, it is going to be an array, and it is going to have optional attributes that are a string. Attributes, no, attributes is an array of strings. Yes. I think that is right. Yeah, expects callable, but got closure. Expects callable mixed. Don't know why that's randomly deciding to freak out. ToArray should return ID, type, attributes, relationships, bunch of things, and then potentially meta with that, but it returns array, literal string, and non-empty string, and array that. I'm not sure why that's complaining, because my types are more specific, but maybe that's the reason why. And then what we'll do is do infection and show mutation. So the type stuff's pretty good, so we'll just run infection and see if it's found any issues with the tests. I'm going in for some more chocolate coffee beans, so again, if anyone doesn't want to hear that, just block your ears right now for half a second. Okay, so, oh, excuse me for half a second. Amazing, thank you. Just got a snack delivery. Okay, so, and it looks like infection is like totally happy. So that's great. All right, so let's, gonna maybe think about some renaming of those methods, because it's good, right? So let's add this. We'll add the changes that we've got. Okay, and then we'll come back and rename that stuff like we've talked about. So resolve attributes. That stuff's good. We've got to come back to that to do. Potentially has meta, and there's an array, and it potentially has attributes, and that is an array of strings. Okay, and these are all our tests, and this is our test to make sure we have that assertion like Steve suggested. Thank you, Steve. Okay, and then, of course, anyone using Vim knows what that is all about. Git commit message, and this is expose available attributes to the meta object. And that's opt-in feature, which is nice, so you don't have to have that. It's only if you want it. All right, so now what we need to do is go to our to-do, and we need to think of renaming this. Oh, we've got to write some documentation as well. Can't deploy that without documentation. Okay, include available include available attributes is misleading because it almost implies that it's any available attributes are going to be included. But in fact, generally you want this feature when you've asked to have minimal attributes. And so this is really about saying what attributes are available. So include available attributes in meta via meta. Include available attributes via meta. I think that's at least better. It's more kind of signifying what is happening. And then we can like rename that as well. Include available attributes via meta. And then what I think we potentially also have to do is change the name of that thing to available attributes. Not necessarily. Attributes is probably fine. Yeah. Okay. I think unless someone else has got a better idea for naming, I might do include available attributes via meta. Cool. And that's refactored that. And then we'll come down via meta. Refactored that everywhere for me. And then we'll also rename this one if I can learn how to use Vim via meta. Okay, so I think that's at least more descriptive of what it is that we're doing. Attributes, did it not? Oh yeah, it did. So now we'll go to our tests and make sure that everything still passes. It doesn't include, oh, it didn't, oh, because I haven't written everything. Yeah, there we go, cool. So that is now working. Okay, so I think that's a good rename. Include available attributes via meta. I'm still not 100% sold on that, I gotta tell you, but it'll do. So that's all right, because we haven't released a version yet, so we can break some stuff with naming, but cool. Sweet. Git commit. We'll just amend this, make it seem like we got it right the first time. And then I don't know if this is a thing I should do on a stream, but I kind of want to add some information to the docs. So if this is boring, please tell me. If I should not be doing this on a stream, I don't know. I don't know the rules. So let's have a look. Let's get this thing previewed so we can actually see what's happening. Oh, let's put it in the wrong browser window. Let me come over here, bring this over. All right, so minimal attributes. So where are we? We're in attributes. Is this the advanced area? It is the advanced usage. We've got minimal attributes. Cool, so I'll just put a, here we'll go include available attributes via meta. I'll put that in quotes, meta. You are able to expose to have the available attributes included. It's all cool, awesome. On available attributes for a resource exposed via the meta object of each resource. The meta via the object's meta key. Cool. This is an opt-in feature that you can turn on in I can't type. Turn on in your service provider. Service provider. Cool. So we'll do some PHP in here, and I think we did some stuff here. So yeah, we did, and we'll go and yank that. Go back to where we were. Put this at the top here, and this is minimal. This is going to be include available attributes via meta. Yep, named it right, love it, nailed it first time. And then, so what does that look like? Include available attributes via meta. You were able to have the available attributes for a resource exposed via the object's meta key. This is an opt-in feature that you can turn on in your service provider. Great. So then a user resource with a name, email, and location attribute. They have the following representation. And then we'll do some JSON in here. Oh, JSON API. Probably just meant to be JSON there. Oh, okay. I just broke everything. What is happening? Why are you freaking out? Whoa, 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 whoa. No idea what that was about. So this would be like ID is equal to 5, type is equal to users, attributes is equal to an empty array. Actually, oh yeah, that reminds me of another feature we've got to do. I'm going to do that tonight actually as well. So there's a weird quirk. Well, it's not a quirk. It's just, it was a thing that I never realized. Sorry, I'm just going to go to my Twitter just to show you this thing because I probably won't explain it very well. But when you are, where did I post about it? Yeah, so here's something that like feels obvious now that I know about it, but I didn't actually know at the time. That's far too small. Can I like zoom in here? Oh, maybe if I just download this. Okay, just going to try and bring this in so that you can see it. Let me stretch this right out. Oh, my dog is sneezing. So something that I kind of didn't realize. Oh, my dog is freaking out. What are you doing, buddy? You all right? You all right, bud? Yeah, he's all right. So I can make data encoded as an array, right? If you specify that data is an array, when it gets JSON encoded, it JSON encodes as an array. So everything's good. Then I can make data encoded as an object by not having, multiple things in there, just a key and a value, in which case data encodes to an object as expected. But what about when you specify an ambiguous empty PHP array? So I just kind of realized this last week. This is ambiguous. It doesn't know, is this going to be a list of items or is this going to be like, is this going to have key values in here? And so PHP out of the box just specifies, like just casts it to an array because it's an empty array. But you can actually force it to cast to an empty object by casting it in PHP to an object, which I guess turns it into like a standard object, standard class. And then that encodes as an object. So you can see that that's encoded as, so it's the same thing. We're just got a cast there, and that is an array, and that is an object. There is this flag here, but it forces everything to be an object, even when you do want it to be an array. So that's kind of weird. But we need to handle that as well, because I don't want attributes to randomly turn into an array. I want to make sure that it's always an object, and same for relationships. So I might try and actually handle that on the stream tonight as well after this. So that's a thing. All right, cool. So where was I? Attributes. Yeah, so this would be meta, and meta will have attributes in it, and attributes will be an array, and this will be name, email, and location. I guess it's probably worthwhile mentioning that you probably want to use this in conjunction with this will be mostly only useful in conjunction with what did I call it up here? Minimal attributes. with minimal attributes turned on. Because if you don't have minimal attributes turned on, you just get all the attributes. So it's not really useful without that. So it's probably worthwhile mentioning that. Cool. So I think that's good. So we'll add that to the docs. And we'll pretend that we had that to begin with as well, because we're good citizens and write documentation when we write code. Push that up. Incoming warning, I am going to munch on some little coffee beans here. So again, if it kills you hearing that, please just block your ears for a second. All right, cool. So we have include available attributes via meta. Include available attributes via meta, and then that means that the meta tag is available on an object, and it contains all the available thingamajiggies, the name, email, and location. And so if you haven't got any attributes coming through, like you've specified that you don't want any, you'll know what attributes are available to be requested. So that is kind of neat. And then we can probably do the same thing with relationships as well. I do wonder, maybe it should be available attributes. Otherwise, that's kind of like, what does that even mean? Meta attributes. It probably should be meta available attributes. So I think that might be a thing actually. So let's to meta. Oh, what do I want? I want JSON API resource, and I want to meta. And if I come in here, yeah, I think this should be available attributes. And this, but then now I've gone into two words. I need to make a decision on snake case or camel case, but I think JSON API actually recommends camel case, so that's fine. So I'm actually going to go with that. So attributes. Ooh, I can't type apparently. I need a heater in here because my fingers are freezing. That's nice because it's matching up with all our naming as well that we had. So available attributes is good. And I think that's good now. So obviously our tests will be failing. So yep. Cool, include available attributes. Available attributes. I guess I can just look for anywhere there's a meta tag. And available attributes. How did I break everything? Oh, because I'm doing, oh my gosh. I am doing snake case. I'm so used to doing snake case. Attributes. This should be available attributes. Oop, and that should be spelt right as well. That would help. Available attributes. Cool. Cool. Everyone is happy. Nice little rename there. And then in the docs as well, we need that updated. Attributes, and that should be available attributes. All right. Just do a little force push there. Haven't tagged anything, haven't released anything, so hopefully I won't mess with anybody. Really doubt that would be a thing. All right, cool. So now we've got available attributes. So we could do the same thing with relationships as well to specify what relationships are available. That one's a little bit trickier because the relationships also have to be included. Like, you might specify the relationships, but you might not want people to be able to go and actually get them all. So I probably need to put a little bit more thought into how we actually handle that, because you might need from the outside to specify what relationships are available. So that's a thing I might just need to consider for a second, because you want to tell Sparse's query builder, hey, these are what are includable, and therefore you shouldn't really show the relationships that aren't includable. Otherwise, you're kind of misleading the user, because they might try and get one of those relationships and it's going to error out, and that's a horrible experience. So the last thing I'm probably going to do on this stream, how long have I been going? Oh yeah, far too long. The last thing I'm going to do on the stream is make it that when these are empty, these are actually objects. So like I said before, they actually get cast to an array when it's an empty thingy. So let's write a test for that. So JSON API test. I'm just going to, where am I going to put this thing? Okay, we'll come down here and we'll go public function. I really need to check out what these commented tests are. Test it casts empty attributes and relationships to an object. Okay, so let's write a failing test for this. So if we get a resource, so we'll go new, we can go basic resource and make, and we'll pass through an ID is equal to expected ID. Okay, and then we'll specify a route. So route get test route, route, and what are we going to return? We're going to return love short arrow functions. I am loving short arrow functions, I have to tell you again, because I just am. Basic JSON API resource, and we're going to make that and pass through this resource. Cool. And so there's no attributes and so basic API. Yep, so there's no attributes specified and there's no relationship specified. So they're going to come through empty. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to hit this thing. So we'll get test route, cool, and then we're going to go, so this is the thing, if I assert exact JSON, it won't work because I actually need to assert against the content as a string. So what I can probably do, for example, look, actually, let's just see this thing, right? So I'll just go response dump and just see what does it look like. So we can see that attributes is an array and so is relationships, but they shouldn't be, they should be objects. And I think if I change dump to content and go a DD, you can see that, again, this is an array and this is an object, but they need to be empty objects, not arrays. So what we want to basically do is this assert, is it string contains? String contains string. Yes, that's what we want. So the thing that we want to look for is we want to find attributes, and this should be an empty array. And then we want relationships, and this should be, it's not an empty array, an empty object. And then we're going to go response content, and that is going to fail because attributes and relationships are not that. So now let's go make this test pass. So if we come into the JSON API resource, this isn't going to be a big one, and my doggy's having a little whinge because he wants to go out. Buddy, we're nearly finished. We just got to cast a few more things to an object. We're so close. You know you love casting things to objects. Oh. Boom. And it works. So that's all we had to do to make sure that, and I guess we should make sure that everything else works still. Yes, it does. So if it already contains stuff, it's going to an object. Otherwise, we're basically making this, make sure, I can't really do this test in PHP because PHP like will resolve it to an empty array, I think. I don't know, maybe there is a way to do it without doing this kind of more stringy based one, but I think that test is good. So get that. Cool, git commit, ensure empty attribute and resource and relationships are cast are encoded to an empty object. Cool. That's it, folks. I'm going to wrap up for the night. Thank you for coming and checking it out. If you didn't see the actual demo, it was right at the very beginning, and then we added some features. So go back and check it out again if you're keen. And yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out. It's been good. Got a lot done. And I don't know, like this thing's probably at a place where it can just be picked up and started to play with. Currently, it doesn't gracefully fall back. So at the moment, the whole API essentially has to support JSON API. So all your resources have to be converted to this. So I think the last thing for me to actually use it in my project is that I want to make it that you can return resources within. So let me. How about we actually like talk about something that we can see. So if I go to this example, use a resource. So currently, like the post resource, the comment resource, the profile picture resource, they all have to be JSON API resources. They all have to extend this new class. And the last thing I want to do is make it that actually these can support non-JSON API resources, just to make the migration path to this nicer so that you can kind of do it incrementally and you don't have to like change your whole API at once. You can actually just do bit by bit. So that's kind of the next thing that I want to work on. So I might do that in the next stream. I might actually just do it during the week because I'm kind of like, it's so close. I just kind of want to get it done now. So I might spend some time on it over the weekend maybe. But yeah, thanks for coming along. Thank you. It was awesome.